sponsored by Leaf Spirits.
Oof, this is all over the place, and I'm Colin.
And I'm John.
Nice one. I just thought we'd try something different.
I like
a wee
it.
bit, eh?
Aye, it's good. Keep us on our toes.
I added a wee bit of energy into it, and mostly because it doesn't look like the YouTube stream started yet on my screen. And given the nonsense we had at the end of last week's Long Bangers episode, I don't even care if anybody's getting to see this. So it'll come up on my screen. We're probably a good minute behind now.
Nothing wrong with my video. I'm going to try and sort it while we speak, but if I drop out your camera,
I noticed that you'd gone away there.
It's like the voice of God talking, eh? Just you hear the voice, but you
that's
can't
what
see the
folks say.
person.
Folks say that. All right, I see what you mean.
We're watching live now. It is working. Everyone's up and running, apart from Colin's camera. Anyway, right. Let's have a look at our team selections. Colin, I think you can still see us, no bother, aye?
Aye, you should be able to see me. I'm there.
Oh, aye, there you are now. Let's have a wee bit of lag. Right, we've got that up on screen. You see us?
Yeah.
Excellent. Right, Colin, you're first up as usual.
Aye. So pretty much the same again. With one change. So I think most of this picks itself. I can't remember for senior teams, but pretty sure they'll be fairly similar. So Smith in goals, O'Hora, Bashiri, Iredale at the back. That is until there's actually Ekpiteta and stuff back. I think that's going to be. There's not really any debate. I don't think.
Ekpiteta and stuff.
I'm trying to think who else is. Yeah, who else have we got? I can't remember.
And
that, aye. Let's go with that. Can't even remember. Have we got another defender? Don't know. Anyway, right, that's the three at the back until at least Ekpiteta's back. The Caddens on the wing backs with Triantis and Levitt in the middle, because I don't think there's any sign of Newell being back yet. And I went with Levitt because he's been starting, so just to be right rather than maybe who I would pick. Campbell in the 10 with Boyle up front, and my change for last week is I'm just starting Bowie.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm. Do you think do you envisage him completing the 90 minutes, Colin?
No.
Or do you see some?
Nah, maybe even a half time. Like it depends on what the physio's instructions will be. I think he only got maybe 20 in the 2 games he's played, maybe half an hour in one of them, I'm not sure. But if it's a step up, I'd imagine he'll be up to at least a half. So let him start the half. The game, play the half. If he comes off at half time, he comes off. If not, maybe a 50, 60 minute sub. And then we've got Gale to play the rest, or Kuhirevich, but I would think it would be Gale would start come on before him.
It's funny how managers will get a player the last 20 minutes and know the first 20 minutes. I think that's just a perception thing. It looks bad if you take a player off after 20 minutes, but it doesn't look bad if you chuck him on for the last 20.
Aye. Maybe they do it disrupt the game too early though, because when you start making subs, games go. I mean, even no matter what level, like when teams start making subs, that's when the momentum goes out of games, and it just is. So I'd imagine some of it might be the perception thing, no wanting the player to come off and start kicking the dugout and all that, but actually it'll be more. It just breaks any fluency that you've got.
See if this was a pre-season game, or like there wasn't any points, there wasn't any jeopardy in terms of like trying to make the next round or whatever.
A friendly, John.
There you go, a friendly. Aye. If it was a friendly, I could see Bowie getting 20 minutes at the start and then coming off, because you might have rolling subs or whatever. But there is definitely, when you were describing it, I'm thinking there's definitely a perception thing, because there's points to play for here, and obviously the guy's physical health.
Martin said Bowie ain't going to start, according to Sir David Gray. It's been in the press conference. I think he said it. And
some of us have got to work, mate. Like, thanks for keeping us up to date, but like I've been busy this afternoon.
Sandy said, "Why announce a player if not available? Because of paperwork. I wanted Mana on the park, not in Malky's inbox."
That's to keep everybody quiet, but it's created some noise as well. On the same thing, yeah. We always do. Every team does that, don't know.
That's it. I think you can do much about international clearance, and that kind of depends when the player agrees the deal, doesn't it? I suppose. But Gray said in I did see his press conference, he did say it should happen today or Monday. So we would maybe see him in the team for next week.
So one of the business days then.
Aye. And Rob says, looking like Dons have sold their big bomb scare of a defender, which is a shame. But gutted about that because I think that is the boy that went off last week. He went off in the first half, talking about
Shit yourself, that's what
After
we are.
rumoured to have shit.
that. Aye. What would you rather, right? See if you were getting taken off, because the suggestion was in the post match interview. They asked the manager, did he ask to come off? And he said, yeah. And he said, is he injured? And he's like, well, I don't know. And there was a sort of suggestion that the boy just didn't fancy it.
Talk about perception, eh?
Aye.
Like, folk will grab that. And if Aberdeen fans are anything like Hibs fans, which they will be, that's going to be like, and he wanted to come off and he asked to come off. And
Aye.
he never had the heart and the mentality and blah, blah, blah. No leadership.
Would you rather be known as the player that went off because you didn't fancy it, or the player that went off because you chat yourself?
Definitely the latter.
I think the latter. Because that's
Aye.
kind of uncontrollable, isn't it? You know, maybe a wee upset stomach, whatever it happens to be.
All right, just before we go to your team, John Martin says he's working too.
And he's fucking watching press conferences.
Aaron said, right, here's an interesting one. Tweeted this just before you went live. The KMI panel, that's a key match incident panel, says a handball penalty was wrong, but Smith's challenge was right for the Ross County game.
Oh, is it? Aye.
That's an interesting one, eh?
Mm.
So that's the reverse of what I suggested. So they said that the handball penalty was awarded incorrectly. It shouldn't have been a penalty.
It'll be interesting to see. I'm not going to take the time to look it up now because
no, I've not seen that yet. Obviously, it's soon. I don't know what the split was because it's a five on the panel usually. Yeah.
What I want to know is whether they think the VAR intervention was right, because they said, was the VAR right? You know how they said the intervention was right, but was the decision right at the end of it? So they can say the VAR intervention was right, but the referee's got the wrong. So it's where the mistake is there. I'd be interested to see that.
They're also not referees, eh? That panel, so they can be. What I've maybe Willie Collum said about it is, because he disagreed with one of their outputs once, and he was like, I'll paraphrase, right? But we're the qualified referees. Like, we know that we apply the rules.
Aye.
They talk what football would want.
Aye.
And I think football would want that to not be a penalty, because as I said last week, and well, the ball's hit him, but I never gained an advantage. He was trying to turn away from it. He never wasn't deliberate, all of that. So football might say it for that reason, but actually the SFA's policy this year seems to be any handball, apart from the ones that don't give, is a penalty.
Yeah. Aaron said it was a 4-1 split in the panel as well, so not quite unanimous. Right, John, this is your team. I'm not sure about your formation here that you've picked.
It looks bizarre, doesn't it? But it's actually it was a question I was going to ask about Collins. I'm assuming Colin, yours was just a fairly straightforward 3-5-2 rather than the 3. Or was it a 3-4-1-2? Well, mine's is basically a 3-5-2. The reason it looks a wee bit weird is because it's trying to fit it in on the app and make sure that people's names are legible. But I've just gone with the same team as I started with last week, because I'm going with the if it's not broke, don't try and fix it point of view. Levitt chipped in with a goal last week, albeit he came off after 60 minutes. There's a wee suggestion that he's maybe playing with an injury, and his painkilling injection or whatever runs out after 60 minutes, so they have to bring him off. But I think he's doing a good job covering for Joe Newell there, so I'm going to continue with him. I had the same question, Colin, around Kieran Bowie, whether to start him, whether to leave him for later in the game. But because Dwight Gill started recently, again, I'm just going to go with it. And because Ewan, we're not quite sure what the deal is with his stub toe, whether he's actually going to be here after this weekend or after Monday when the transfer window slams shut. Started with Dwight Gill.
Yeah.
There's a bit of chat that Ewan's away, isn't there? That seems to be the rumour. Aaron followed up, said the majority of the panel deemed the on-field decision of no handball would be correct. They felt a VAR intervention to recommend an on-field review for a penalty kick was incorrect. One panel member felt VAR was correct to intervene as it met the criteria for a handball offence. Callum said, same team I went for on the phone in last night, Colin. And Martin says either picked the same team as you, John.
That's in it.
Aye, we'll always say if you want to send in a team, you can send it in. We'll include it in the show. Roboito has done that on Blue Sky. Again, it's a very similar looking team. Slight change in formation. They brought in Molotnikov to play alongside Campbell behind Boyle up front. But Again, not much variation in terms of personnel for the two teams that you guys have picked. Sandy likes to send one in. We're always happy to get Sandy's team. Again, pretty consistently, he has picked Mana, who's Mane. I don't know. Who's
It's
not
got to be
available yet.
Mane.
Mane.
It's got to be Mane because of the jokes that we've been making, like Eddie Mane and Mane the Moment.
Mane at the moment. Good team there. Sandy and Joe has put Molotnikov alongside Boyle up top. But again, pretty familiar looking team for the rest of it. This is my team. I went with Kukorevic to start off. And I kind of swithered whether to play Bowie or Gale. And I just thought, what's most likely? And I think, because Kukorevic never featured at all against Ross County, I think he'll come on for the first half and maybe Bowie will get the second half. And Boyle will play the full 90 unless he goes off sort of at some point for Gale to come on.
It's definitely an option to have up front for different balls to come in from wide areas. Shallower balls for Martin Boyle and higher balls for Kiharovic. That's actually I quite like that lineup. I hadn't considered Kiharovic because of his lack of game time recently and also lack of a really good performance against Clydebank. But I can see the merit in it.
I think you've got the option of having Kukorevic playing with a bit more with his back to goal and laying the ball off for Boyle, like the traditional big man, wee man striker partnership. So that was my team. I didn't mind if Mariah Welsh comes in for Levitt. I don't really mind if Bowie or Gale starts ahead of Kukorevic. They were just sort of toss the coin ones. I had considered Hoylett. Hoylett's not really played very much recently, but I thought it'd be harsh to drop Josh Campbell despite my reservations about him recently. So, any challenges on that team? Are we all right there?
I think looking across most people's teams, like everyone's lineups are reasonably consistent with a few interesting ones like Molotnikov up front. Again, I can see the merit in that because I think the way that we've played since we made that change, we've been a wee bit more mobile up front. It's less about having Kaharovic up front on his own. It's more about like more mobile, shorter guys. So even chucking Molotnikov in there isn't that unusual. What I think is quite interesting when you were talking about Levitt and say Mariah Welsh there, I was thinking, well, that doesn't just apply to Levitt. There's probably replacements in a good few areas of the pitch when players are either tired or for whatever reason they might need a substitution. So I think, touch wood, I think we go into this game reasonably strong.
I think you're right. Martin said, where is Yuan going? Surely won't pass his medical. Callum said he's going to Toronto. Martin said, is that nailed on? And growing reports.
Colin hates a pun.
Right. That's the only reason I read them out. It's just because I can't he'd be going, for fuck's sake. Fantastic. Right. We will have a look at the form guide. Let me just bring that up onto the screen.
I've just had a thought. This is a great opportunity to get your XG tables in there to beef this out a wee bit. We can talk about form guides. We can talk about expected goals where we think that
he's
outperforming.
He's in a hurry. Did you not listen to him before we started? He's like, let's get this shit done quick so I can get back to my.
I'm planting the seed for next week, for next time. Maybe know the day. But I know that like Martin got in touch to say that he enjoyed our XG chat. There was a few folk that. What was it? Someone was going to call us Tony Bloom's something. It was a message that we got on Patreon. I forget what it was.
I don't know.
Tony Bloom's trio?
Maybe something like that. We're speaking to the folk who do the stats, and we'll do like a wee trial episode if we figure out what we can do with it, and if there's a big enough appetite for people that like that sort of stats discussion, then we'll maybe do like a extra episode, and then the folk that didn't like it didn't have to watch it, and the folk who do like it can get it. Tony Bloom trio is what it was.
It's not that they didn't like it; it's they don't understand it.
Right. Well, you can say that. I'll keep them on side, and I'll say they just didn't like it.
Educate them, Colin. Get them tell.
Right, form guides. A wee drop off. We've gone from the top of the table, moved down to third, but we're still relatively healthy looking there. John,
You're fourth.
I know. So does that make our result against them a bit more palatable?
No.
Correct. Right, John. What are you what's jumping out at you there when you look at Aberdeen?
Maybe that they've had a draw out of their 6 defeats. Or sorry, out of the 6 games, they've had one draw. That must have been a rare highlight for them. They've conceded quite a few goals.
Mm-hmm.
And we've scored a reasonable number. They've scored as many in the last 6 games as we've scored. Again, room for cautious optimism there that we'll go and score a couple of goals against them.
Colin, there's no load of goals there in those Aberdeen results for them. It looks like they're kind of conceding fairly frequently, and
they've only scored once.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
One goal in 6 games.
I think it's important. Now, somebody might have said this on the phone in last night. I can't remember. I'm sure they did. Maybe Callum. He said, if we get the first goal, like if we can score early, somebody said that. Correct me if I'm wrong, right? Or if I'm maybe making that up, but if we get the first goal, that puts them under. They'll be thinking we fucking go again because they don't score. In the last 6 shows, they don't score many goals, right? So that's going to put them under that. The longer we allow them to be in the game, the more hope will build for them. We get an early-ish goal, 20 minutes in the first 20 minutes, they could go, fuck's sake, and then we could maybe go on and win comfortably 2 or 3-0 or something.
Aye. Ideally, we want to have one of those games like where you score a couple of goals rapid.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know, like that? So while they're still reeling for conceding, if you can get another one, that just fucks them. And what we didn't really want to happen is for them to have the sort of pivotal game that it was the last fixture at Easter Road for us. Where we used it as a springboard for the rest of the season so far. We didn't want to give them that opportunity to sort of kick their season back off again.
Early goals, get the defenders sticking their hands up to say that they're not wanting to play in that.
Aye.
Or shitting themselves.
Or mere shitting themselves.
Or saying they've shit themselves to get out of the case that they went and said that they would play anymore.
That would be quality. Mind you, like if we could make one of their players shit themselves at Easter Road, it would mean in the last couple of seasons we'll have made their chairman cry and one of their players shit themselves, which is
that's a rare double.
Decent, a decent double. Right, score predictions and we'll wrap up. John, what's the score going to be?
I'm going to go 2-1 Hibs based on some XG information that Colin gave me the other day. That was on his understanding of the XG form guide. 2-1 Hibs.
Well, no, it was their average over the season, right? But looking at that, the last 6, look, they've only scored 1 goal in the last 6, mate. So it depends how far you want to go back, because remember that'll include the whole season. XG. Away from home, XG. That was. I'm going to go 2-0.
2-0.
Hibs. I do wonder, this is almost full circle back to where the turning point of both your season. I do wonder if we could get the caught with the karma almost on that, and it flips again, but or just starts balancing out again, but just being the same game, full circle back, as I say. So I hope not, and I'm hoping for 2-0. I'd like it to be 2-0, or I'd like it to be fucking more than that, but 2-0 would be a good result. I just do wonder. We've had, as much as we're unbeaten, we've not been great.
It takes us to within 2 points of them if we can win. Like it is massive, really for where we want to finish in the season.
Huge incentive.
It feels like. Do you remember a way back? Thinking away back, I was thinking about this the other day. There was a game December time when Mowbray was in charge, and we were miles behind, and then we beat Aberdeen at Easter Road Christmas time, maybe 2-0. I think Stephen Glass scored a good goal, and that was almost the turning point for us to go in and get third. And it feels like a big one in turning that round, because they've had such a start on us this season because of their ridiculously good start.
Lucky start. The other fixtures tomorrow, it is an opportunity for us tomorrow to pull away for some teams and to catch some teams up. So Dundee are at home to Hearts, Killie are at home to Dundee United, and St Mirren and St Johnstone play each other. So it does feel like a game that we really have to win if we want to kind of get the season that we want to have come the end of it. Okay, right, I'm going to go for 2-1 Hibs as well. What did you say, John, again?
2-1 Hibs. But that was on the basis of some shit data, so I'm going to have to revisit that. But for the purposes of the podcast, 2-1.
Wasn't it shit data? It was data.
Maybe it was shit analysis by me. Sorry.
Right, a 2-1, a 2-0, and a 2-0. There we go. Right, let us know on Twitter what you think the score is going to be. Twitter, Blue Sky, the other one, the better one, the one that's not done by an Nazi. Aye, fire up a score prediction there. Martin says 2-0. Hibs says please get a 2-0. We'll be back on Sunday with the main episode, and it's episode 300 for us. And we were trying to line up a special guest, but it's not happened. So we'll figure something out for it. We might do nothing. Who knows? It's only exciting to us, not anybody else. Right. Thanks for tuning in, and we will see you